Michael Jaafar, big case. Mike, there he is. Your thoughts on the damage that these texts may have done to the defense? It is, they're both all in on this relationship, and Chad is definitely the person who's telling Lori who's good, bad, and at one point even threatens to take away his protection when she was ghosting him. Your thoughts on how Pryor did on the cross in terms of mitigating damage?
I thought he did a phenomenal job on the cross. I mean, no witness is going to be as damaging to Chad Daybell's case as Melanie Gibb. So this detective obviously is no exception. John Pryor did a phenomenal job. You know, bringing up the fact that he was able to basically tell the jury, hey, Chad Daybell has been talking about his wife's death for a long time. He's been talking about her demise for a long time. Isn't it true? And he even asked the investigator, did you know that he's been speaking about this stuff publicly? And the investigator was stumped a little bit. Did you know he's saying this to hundreds of people at congregations and been talking publicly and been telling everybody? It was no secret that he's been telling people about her untimely demise. She's going to have a death. She's going to die soon. He's been telling everybody, including Tammy Daybell. Did you know that? No, I did not know that. I just know what the text messages say. So clearly, John Pryor knew more about the history of his client than this investigator, and he showed that. So I think he did a really good job.
That was a great nugget and fodder for the defense, for John Pryor to pull out, because that doesn't seem like someone who's worried about a murder investigation.
Could you imagine being Tammy Daybell? It's like, could you please stop talking about me dying?
Let's squeeze in a break. Michael Jaafar, stand by. We do have a lot to get to on the other side. That redirect of the FBI agent on the stand now. Don't go anywhere. And that wraps up the extensive testimony of Douglas Hart, who's been on the stand now for several days. Let's bring back in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. Michael, we heard the attorney, the prosecution, ask, was Chad Daybell the one in charge of who was dark and who was light? And this agent saying, yes, he was essentially the one handing out these numbers. Is that it? Does the defense need any more or the prosecution need any more to get this to beyond reasonable doubt, even if they don't have any kind of DNA connecting Chad Daybell to the bodies in his backyard?
I mean, the case against him for conspiracy to kill his wife, I don't think it's even been close to being proven, right? Because the defense is still going to go up. They're still going to show expert witnesses and testimony and examiners that she died of natural causes, right? So it's like, in my opinion, from my vantage point, it's far from being proven on that point. As far as the children, it's damning that they were charred and severed and they were in his house. I mean, that's damning. The fact that he was traveling with Lori Daybell, the fact that she had moved the deposit. We already have witnesses that she's moved the deposit from the Venmo account, the Social Security payment from their accounts to her accounts. She was married to him. She was traveling with. I mean, they're accusing him of a conspiracy to kill these kids. They're not accusing him of grabbing the knife and killing these kids. So I feel like all these witnesses are culving towards putting him right in the center of the conspiracy. And man, that Melanie Gibb, you know, last week, I think she was a damning witness. I think it's going to be very difficult to overcome that. I want to see what the defense does when it's their turn.
In terms of Tammy's death, he was in the bed with her when she died, and yes, the initial determination was natural causes, but then when it was revisited and and an expert came in for the state, because we saw this play out during Lori's trial, that they believe she died of asphyxiation, because the pink foam that she generated, that was a clear indication that it was oxidized blood, and it was, you know, the state is not going to allow, correct me if I'm wrong here, is that this to be, for jurors to walk away and go, oh yeah, she probably just died of natural causes because Chad predicted that she was gonna. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing on earth. It's like, the defense is literally saying, well, he was saying she was gonna die. Yeah, and she's dead, and she died a horrible death because this. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense that she died of natural cause. It makes more sense, given the kid's death too, that he killed her.
And there's a closing argument, Michael.
Yeah, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he killed her, right? So there's obviously, I don't think there's evidence that shows conclusively he's innocent for sure, but the defense doesn't have to prove that. The defense has to prove that the prosecution has not overcome their burden where he killed her beyond a reasonable doubt. They still have to put up their defense. I've caught myself a few times looking at the prosecution and the way they've built their case and say, I don't see how the defense can overcome that. I feel like this John Pryor, I was not sold on him at the beginning of this trial. You know, I've been very impressed. You told me, hey, listen, he's a pretty good, fearsome attorney. I'm actually very impressed with the way he's coming out, and I think he's going to be able to put enough. Knock off a bunch of legs off the prosecution's case on the death of Tammy. I don't believe that they're going to be able to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. I feel like this is an easy one, but the kids, I think Chad Daybell is deep in this conspiracy.
We will see how it unfolds in front of this jury. Stand by.
So sad. I know that Larry and Kay Woodcock are at this trial, and they have to really, even though they were through it with Lori, to hear the details about JJ, because they love that little boy so much, has to be very difficult for them sitting in that courtroom. Michael Jaafar, the kids at the end of the day, you referenced it a bit ago, is I mean, when two beautiful kids are dead and you're on trial for it, it's tough to get past jurors' disgust because he's an adult. He could have saved them, and their bodies were found in his backyard.
I don't see how he gets out of the conspiracy, Ted. I really don't. My opinion on his ability to get out of the death of his wife is something different. But to get out of the conspiracy of the death of these two kids is going to be very, very, very difficult, right? And the forensic, that forensic IRS forensic accountant last week, or the forensic accountant, that was damning evidence, right? Because, I mean, it's obviously more damning for Lori than Chad, but, you know, hey, Chad, listen, if you sleep with dogs, you wake up with fleas. She clearly was a villain, right? She went after the money. She changed banking registrations. She changed where the Social Security Administration payments went in, and he was tied to her, right? And then Melanie Gibb coming in and testifying, and he told her to say that JJ was with her. I mean, it's bad. It's really, really bad, Ted. I don't see how he gets out of it. I think his attorney's doing a phenomenal job. I'm really looking for the defense to put up their case in chief. I want to see how they knock down Melanie Gibb. That's your target at this point. Otherwise, your client's getting convicted.
And they expect to call her to the stand in their case in chief. We have to squeeze in a break. We'll get you back in for more testimony in the Chad Daybell trial after this.